So I sit here this evening reading about Laodicea, and I thought that I would talk to you guys about the church. Well, not so much the church, but rather the history of Laodicea. Laodicea was a city before it became Laodicea, and it was called Diospolis, and that meant God's city or Zeus's city, and it was a city dedicated to Zeus. So they'd gotten destroyed and it became Rhodes, and then it got destroyed, and then it became Laodicea. And so it had gone through kind of a sordid history. It was a city that was very wealthy. It was on a trade route, and because it was actually at the conjunction of a couple of trade routes, it became a banking center. And being a banking center, it was, again, very wealthy and brought in much finance that way. And they had some fantastic wool that they produced there. And so they produced a lot of garments. There was a big raiment industry in Laodicea, and that made them rich and famous. And not only were they rich and famous because of their garment industry, they also put a lot of work and a lot of effort into their medicine. And they developed something called Phrygian powder, which was an eye salve. And that brought in, as you guessed it, more fame and more fortune. Now, Laodicea wasn't in the perfect situation because, first off, they didn't have any of their own potable water. So they had to bring in water from about 6 miles away via an aqueduct. And there were huge fines tied with hurting those aqueducts or polluting that water. And so the water there was very important. And also, they were on an earthquake prone zone. So they would have an earthquake, and in 60 AD, the city actually was destroyed because of an earthquake. But because it was such a wealthy and famous center, they didn't need any money from Rome to build their city. They were self sufficient. Wealthy citizens within Laodicea spent their own money, and rebuilt the city. And so it was a city that was known for its wealth, for its power, for its fame, for its prestige. And they were very proud of that. And that created a church that lived in the same way. And so as you think about what Christ says to the Laodiceans, think about it in those terms.